Hello and welcome back for another episode of Financial Freedom by 40. In this week's episode, we are continuing our journey through the Pilbara region and then up towards Broome in the Kimberley region. We travelled through some more spectacular landscapes, such as this one here in the Millstream-Chichester National Park. We also get to learn a lot more about some of the mining activities that we've seen as we have travelled through the Pilbara region. If you watched our last episode, you will have seen the giant mine that we saw, the Murujuga mine, which is a mine site that has been carved out of the Karijini National Park. As we continue our journey north, we get to travel alongside some of the giant trains that we had seen coming in and out of the Murujuga mine. And we could see just how big they were and how much iron ore is being transported by these trains. It was really fascinating to learn a bit more about the iron ore production and its journey out towards the coast. We'll tell you a bit more about what we learned as we move through this episode. But first of all, we are leaving Karijini behind and travelling up the Rio Tinto Road on towards Millstream-Chichester National Park. The Rio Tinto Road follows those big trains, and it was our first chance to get to see them up really close. Fingers crossed we see one of the big trains.
Just about to come.
Oh, is there? Oh, there is two! How exciting!
Look out your window, Xavier.
Look out your window, Roland. There's a train.
Is it? How fast is it going though?
Pretty quick.
You need to follow them. It's coming.
Oh, it's coming. So these are the big trains that move the iron ore around, and the road that we've just pulled onto is the Tom Price to somewhere railway access road. So this road's solely for the purpose of maintaining the railway that is used to move the iron ore. And so this is one of the trains that's coming past us now. So you can get a permit to go on the Rio Tinto road to access the national park that we're going to go to. This is the quickest route, and it's free, and you can get it from the Tom Price Information Centre. Let's see how many carriages they've got.
Well, they reckon almost 30,000 tonnes they are, and they can be 2.5 kilometres long.
Wow.
And
see,
apparently they're driverless.
Driverless. Oh, I didn't look to see if there was a driver.
No, all the windows are back down.
Oh. Wow. Look at it all. Must be money and iron ore, eh?
That's a lot of iron. And it's going faster than us.
It is going faster than us. I didn't start counting how many carriages though.
No, next one.
Next one. It's a very long train. It's still going past us. A lot of carriages. See if it gets past us. We'll see when the end is, basically, I suppose. It's moving.
It's going pretty quick now.
Yeah. I feel like it's got faster.
Yeah, well, I think we're coming down in altitude because we're 560 metres now, and we're at, what, 750 roughly?
Something like that, yeah.
So I suspect it is going downhill.
That's what you can hear squeak.
The brakes.
It's the brakes slowing down the train.
It is a bit squeaky, isn't it?
Maybe the blue buckets, they are signified at the end or something.
Well, there were blue ones at the beginning too, so maybe
Yeah.
the blue ones at the start and the end. So how long do you reckon? About 10 minutes it's been going past us? And we've finally got to the end. Big train. Let's see if another one comes past. We did pass several of these big trains as we were making our way along the road, and they were travelling in both directions. So you would see the full ones going one way and then empty carriages heading back towards the mine. We also passed a number of road trains and other vehicles as we travelled along the Tom Price Road, and as you can see here, every time someone goes past you, there's a huge amount of dust blowing up. Makes it a little tricky to see where you're going. Not too long after we hit the tarmac, we came to a level crossing, and another train just happened to be going past at this time. We didn't manage to catch the first part of it on the video, but we did get most of the train going by, and you get an idea here of just how big they are as the train drives past us. We later learned that these trains can have up to about 268 carriages on them. And as Ryan mentioned in the video a little bit earlier, we also learned that the trains that run on this Rio Tinto track are actually driverless trains. And from what we could tell, they seem to run pretty much 24/7. We'll speed this next bit up so you don't have to wait quite as long as we did, but it gives you an idea of just how long these trains really are. A little further up the road, we stopped in at the Millstream homestead to have a look. This is located within the Millstream-Chichester National Park and used to be the old homestead for what was the Millstream station back in the day. There's also a campground just adjacent to the homestead, and we had thought that maybe we might stay here for the night. So we thought we'd have a bit of a look around and explore the grounds, and the first stop was the inside of the old homestead. What does the chair do?
The chairs are called radio rockers. Take a seat and find out why. They were popular in the 1940s when families would gather around for wireless radio to listen to their favourite shows. Adults got in rockers and children sat on the floor.
Does it rock?
Television didn't start Australia until 1956.
So what happens to the chair when you sit in it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, does it rock?
Don't know.
Let's give it. I'm going to give it a try. Creaky.
You like to sit in it?
Seems to give it.
Station. The Merino Wall
Well, there you go.
was initially 100,000 acres.
Huh.
My turn.
There's the station map over there.
I don't want to.
Amazing that was drawn by an 11-year-old, hey?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah, this picture up here was drawn by an 11-year-old. Must have been someone who was living here. Wow, look at that. So that's what they did before they had electricity, is it? Clever.
Oh, so this is the kitchen.
The shearers, is it the shearers or is it just the kitchen for the house?
This is the kitchen, pantry, and what's the wood thing?
Oh, yes, the shed at the back there might have been for wood or something.
Yeah, there's a big stove.
Yeah,
For a lot of people, possibly.
I'd say so on the station. Some sort of farm equipment.
This could be the thing for compressing the wool into the bales.
Oh, yeah.
Well, these ones have labels on them, so that one might have a label somewhere. How's the old rake?
Yeah.
Seen better days?
There's a blacksmith shop here too.
The spanner still looks workable.
What's that? Spanner.
Over that way.
Oh, yeah, that one. The spanner?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Isn't a spanner?
Is the roo gone? Oh, it has seen us, yeah.
Take that track, but you're like, oh, there's two of them. There's three of them.
Oh, look, there's a bigger one down there.
We're going this way though, Ollie.
Let's go have a look. There's a pool, not that you can swim, but one you can have a look at down here. Oh,
Oh look, there's lots of them. Then you jump through the fence.
Yeah.
Where's your box, Daddy?
well, there he goes.
Yeah.
After having a look around the homestead, we realised that there wasn't too much to see in this half of the Millstream-Chichester National Park. So we went to have a look at this lookout that looks over the river that runs through the park, and then we thought we'd go and check out one of the swimming holes to see if we wanted to jump in for a little dip.
That looks cool.
Oh yeah, this is the type of spot that Mum and Ollie were going to swim.
That-
Sure. Not happening.
Look at all the fishies though.
Not happening. Even I'm not swimming.
Oh well, I guess that answers the question. It's just a river. It's just part of the river, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a big fish. Is this in part of the national park?
Yeah.
Oh, it means I can't flick a rod.
There's quite a few fish down there. We decided to head over to the Chichester side of the Millstream-Chichester National Park. It used to be two national parks, but they were merged together to make the Millstream-Chichester National Park. One of the sites we wanted to see over there was the famous swimming hole, Python Pool. We're walking into Python Pool in the Millstream-Chichester National Park, so it's apparently really beautiful and a good spot to have a swim. So go and have a quick look. We're trying to still find somewhere to camp up tonight, so not too sure what we're going to do just yet, but have a swim, cool off, and then we'll make a plan. We've seen the swimming hole in lots of brochures looking really beautiful, and we also watched one of our favourite YouTubers visit here just a few weeks ago, and they had an amazing time swimming in this waterhole. It looks though like this area has also been hit by a bit of what we experienced in Karijini, and there hasn't been much water flow through the area. So we had a look at the water and decided that we didn't want to take a dip. It looked a little green for our liking. At this point it was starting to get a little late in the day, and we decided that it was time for us to go and find camp. So went to have a look at the what is it called now? Swimming hole, and it wasn't the nicest, and so we decided not to have a swim there. The water was looking a bit stagnant, as they have been at a few actually around here, and we had planned on staying at a free camp just up the road here, which is marked on Wiki Camps, but we don't think it's a legit camp. So now we're trying to find some cell phone signal so we can see if we can find an alternative camp, and or a campground. For campgrounds close their receptions, wish us luck, because it's not ideal not having somewhere to camp, but we hadn't thought we'd get quite this far today, so we don't have a backup plan just yet, but we'll make one. Oh, and I should say, the huffing and puffing is because I'm walking up a hill to try and get signal. It's a beautiful view though. The hill we were climbing up here to try and get some cell phone signal was Mount Herbert, and we were lucky enough to get some signal right at the very top. While we were up there, Ryan decided to throw up the drone and take a look at the spectacular scenery that was all around us. This part of the Millstream-Chichester National Park is so much more picturesque than the Millstream side. It really is a bit of a shame that there are not too many places that you can camp up in this national park. There is a bush camp that is free but quite far away from where we were at this point in our travels, and we were a little worried about heading out there over the rough terrain at this time of day just in case it started to turn dark. The camp that we planned to stay at is marked on Wiki Camps as Mount Herbert Free Camp, and although it was quite tricky to spot from the road, once we climbed up the mountain we could have a pretty good view of where the free camp location was. We also spotted some other campers pulling in there when we were up the hill, so we felt like this was a good spot for us to call it a day. ended up going back to the camp that we were originally planning on staying at. There's other people staying here, so we figure it must be legit. And this is the view looking out from where we camped just over here. How beautiful is this? Free camping in a national park and absolutely stunning outlook here. Ryan and I decided that the views here were just so good that it was worthwhile getting up early so that we could watch the sunrise over the national park. How good is this view? After watching the sunrise, it was time for us to hit the road again and make our way towards the town of Karratha. Along the way, we passed yet another one of the big trains taking their iron ore to the port of Karratha.
Now would have been the time to count it.
I can count them later. And that one's sitting still, so it's a bit easier. I don't think you're even going to be able to see the whole of this one because it's going to disappear behind that hill.
Just stop the trains wherever they like because there's nobody there to get off.
Yeah, true. Maybe they can only run them within certain hours?
Yeah, maybe.
Although, I mean, it seemed like they were going at night in the Murujuga National Park. Yeah, see that one you can't even see the end of. So, this is Murujuga National Park, and I read in the reviews, so there are Aboriginal artworks here that date back as far as 37,000, I think it said, years ago. And some of the comments said that it's a bit like a Where's Wally. So you have to look really carefully. They won't necessarily be immediately obvious, but you, if you look closely, you should be able to spot them.
Like you say, this looks totally artificial, like it's just rubble that's dumped there.
It does. It looks like a giant dump truck has dumped piled of rocks, but again, the brochure says for the national park that that's just naturally like that. It's just the way geologically that it formed. But yeah, I reckon it looks like a giant's just done like a big scoop of rock and dropped it there.
Oh, let's try and find some art then.
Yeah.
Research estimate more than 1 million individual engravings were produced over 150 to 40,000 years ago.
Far out. Newer engravings, which include marine animals and seabirds, were created after the last ice age when the archipelago was formed by rising sea level. Some of the older engravings show jankurna or emus and their footprints. The engravings were made by removing the weathered surface of the stone to expose the lighter coloured rock underneath, most often by chipping or pecking, usually with a finer point, or pounding using a more rounded rock. Interesting, because it's funny that it's amazing that it's lasted that long, up to 40,000 years. I wonder how they know.
So the stone surfaces that feature the engravings have continued to weather away, so the best time for viewing is late afternoon when the shadows make the shallow engravings stand out. That's why.
Oh, well, let's go have a look anyway, because we could see some of them from down here, so a closer look up there.
See next to that?
Yeah, that one's definitely an emu, I reckon. There's heaps, aren't there? After a quick stop in at Karratha to pick up some supplies and to visit the Murujuga National Park, we decided to head out to a nearby camp called Cleaverville. Cleaverville is a camp that is run by the local shire, and although it is a paid camp much of the year, it is free up until the beginning of May, which was perfect for us as we just happened to be rocking through this area at the very end of April. The camp is located right on the coast in an area that is known for good fishing, so the boys are pretty keen to head down to the coast and check out this spot and see if we could catch a fish.
Oh, we need a few more of those.
Yeah.
Another 3 of those would be nice.
We're staying at Cleaverville Camp, which is not too far from Karratha, and Ollie's just hooked his first fish, so that's exciting, a flathead. Hoping maybe there might be a few more out there, so it's pretty cool. We've only been here for about 5 minutes, so that's pretty good luck so far. So Ollie's got another one, a queenfish. Is a good sized fish. Nice one.
Queenfish.
Ollie, just stay there. Yeah, it's the same spot you caught the other fish.
Yeah, just up here. But it's lower tide. It's about an hour or 2 hours after.
Not about 2 hours. We've only been here for probably an hour.
Darn, I'm bleeding quite a bit.
You'll be right. We've got some plasters in the first aid kit.
Like the.
That's alright. Catch another fish.
Right.
I'll go get a plaster.
Ooh, yeah.
We must be here at a good time because we're seeing fish jumping just out here. So boys are all excited, hoping maybe we can catch another one just out here. We've seen a few. Oh, one just jumped over that side. Keeping our eyes peeled, but there's definitely signs of action just out here. Maybe today's our day. Although we continued to see loads of fish splashing in the water not too far out from where we were, we didn't manage to pull in another fish after Ollie's 2 that we caught early on in the afternoon. Nevertheless, we still had a fun time out here fishing, and we saw loads of little fish swimming along the edge of the water, as well as a number of turtles that swam out through the estuary area past us as well. So pretty cool place to be. There were, however, loads and loads of midges here, so we got quite a few bites while we were standing out here fishing, and decided that it was time to call it a day and head back to camp before we all got eaten alive.
The fish around, not through the spine.
I got you with that.
Doesn't matter, leave it there. Now
Here's
turn
Ollie's
the fish
fish.
around. Okay, now what?
Don't
You
spine.
got it?
We're doing a filleting lesson here.
Most of these fish are doing fun and listen on, but
That's right. What's up?
You got to learn somehow, haven't you?
Nice. All the way down. Now just don't cut me.
don't
I'm
worry, I
gonna
take
move my hand.
pride in cutting my father. That's mean.
It's a good sized fish, Ollie.
No. Keep going the way you were. Now, don't rub it
Spike.
from the back to the front.
Dumb spike.
Right, now put your finger inside the flesh at the front, right at the top. Okay, now you want to pull the flesh up. As you start cutting, angle the blade slightly towards the skeleton, and use the skeleton as a guide. You won't cut through the bones easily, so just point it towards and just cut along that. So, all the way down.
Jeez, you make it look easy, Ollie.
You're doing a good job.
It's not hard.
You're doing the left hand side of the fish though, and you're right handed. The hard part is when you do it the other way around. Yeah.
The flathead.
Keep going.
His mouth is freaky.
You can put
they're
your
freaky looking
hand
fish,
on
aren't
it. Put your hand on it, it can cut all the way. You got
I'm
it?
kissing it. Ooh.
Let's kiss the fish.
Gross. Fish lips.
Get all
After 2 nights at Cleaverville getting eaten alive by the midges, we decided that it was time for us to keep making our way north. Our next stop was the coastal town of Port Headland. Port Headland is another town that has a major role to play in the mining industry, and it's where a lot of the iron ore that we saw passing us in trains makes its way out towards the coast. The 2 main ports on this coast where the iron ore leaves Australia are Karratha and Port Headland. The trains that we saw on the Rio Tinto road were Rio Tinto trains heading to the port at Karratha, whereas the ones that we saw in this area were BHP trains heading from the BHP mines out to the port at Port Headland. Just outside of Port Headland, there is a railway overbridge where you can stop to have a look and watch some of the trains going by. We We climbed up on the bridge to have a look, and we didn't happen to see any trains go by while we were there, but it did also provide a good look out over the salt mine that is also in Port Headland. We were quite fascinated here by the scale of the salt mining operation and the size of the vehicles that were involved. Keep your eyes peeled to see if you can spot the giant salt trucks coming in, the big road trains that carry the salt out, and the massive digger that is here loading them. Look, the digger's getting ready to, or the loader is getting ready to load another truck.
I'm getting midget here.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't stay here much longer. I had 3 here before I'm out of here.
While we were in Port Headland, we also visited the local information centre, where they run free talks about the port and the port operations. We learnt a lot more about the mining operations and the scale of the export of iron ore while we were here. The tours are run in the mornings, and it's well worthwhile checking in to go and have one of these tours so you can learn a bit about what is going on here. The information centre also has the times that the ships are coming and going from the port, so it's worth also checking that so you can watch one of these giant iron ore ships coming in or going out. This is one of the ships that were leaving that had obviously been filled with iron ore and making its way out of the port with the tugs taking it out. We learnt at the information centre that each of the ships that comes through this gap has 4 tugs on it to ensure that they make it out of the narrow harbour entranceway. The harbour entranceway is only wide enough for 1 ship at the time, and the harbour itself is quite shallow, so they are only able to bring the full ships out on a high tide because they're too heavy to make it out during a low tide. A little further off the coast here, there is a mooring area where there can be up to about 30 ships at a time sitting out waiting to get their clearance to come in and be loaded. It takes about 36 hours for each of the ships to be loaded, but they do have a quarantine period where they do have to wait out at the coast for their slot to become available. One of the facts that we learnt at the information centre was that each of these ships carries about 3 of those giant trains worth of iron ore. So that was really interesting after having seen the trains to see where they end up and how much of a ship they take up heading out. Another interesting fact that we learnt at the information centre was that each of these ships that we have coming out of the port here is only carrying the ore of one particular mining company. So each particular mining company here has a spot at the port, and there are several mining companies that operate out of Port Headland. They run their own stockpile of iron at the port, and they load their own ships. So they all have their own loading equipment, they all move their own iron out off their own trains and onto their own ships and ship it out off the coast here. And some of the mining companies even operate their own tugboat so that they have their own whole system here.
What if a crew do well aboard the ship?
They maintain the ship.
What?
So there's all the engines. They'll do painting and maintenance on the ship as they go. There'll be chefs on board. There'll be engineers on board. There'll be pilots and captains and stuff. There'll be navigation. There'll be
Probably medical people.
medicals. There's only they say 18 to 25 people. And if it's 24 hours, it's not that huge. But you can see all of the you see all the green roofs, all the big dark grey. Those are the pieces that open up to the iron and stuff.
Yeah. And these are helipad on the guys.
Yep, there'll be a helipad probably up the front somewhere.
Probably lands on one of the hatches.
What do you reckon the big white thing is at the back? Fuel?
Fuel.
See where the K is
White,
below
like
that?
dark.
Yeah.
Or else would I put the fuel? Its hole is from Ryan.
Well,
You can
that's
see
true.
the lifeboat.
China, Japan. Japan. There's a Japanese flag on the back.
Is there? Oh, there is too. Well, there you go. That
Yeah.
answers your question. It's must be a Japanese registered. Yep.
Japan's
Read
not
some-
red. Oh, down there.
Yeah.
Well, there's two on the top though, above the bridge.
Yeah, it's got a Japanese flag.
No, but they might just be nautical flags that signify certain things.
Well, there's the Australian.
One might be an Australian flag. It's hard to tell because it's so. Yeah, one's the Australian flag. I'm not too sure what the red and white one is. But this flag on the stern is usually the country of registration. Yeah.
From a fish.
Oh yeah.
So the tug fins are suction.
Some of the wharfs they seem to have ones that suction cup on rather than ropes. That's kind of clever.
Yeah, there's a Japanese flag on the back.
How many lifeboats do you think there are? Just one?
2.
There's a little one up there, and as Abby said, there's a big one at the back.
I assume there's another 2 on the side to the front. 4 lifeboats.
The tug at the back going to do some pushing now. Look, it's getting close.
For fishing when they're waiting.
Look, the back tug's coming right at the back.
Yeah, it's probably just going to swing around.
What did you
That
say?
does have a point. It's like a little tinny, the
Yeah.
smaller one. So they could use it to go fishing.
Now, in case you're wondering, like we were, what sort of numbers are being turned over by this port each day, we learnt on our little education session at the information centre that about $90 million worth of iron ore leaves this port every single day. So some pretty big numbers involved here, and that would explain all of the big trains and other equipment that we have seen on our travels around the Pilbara. After Port Headland, it was time for us to keep pushing our way north. This next stretch of the journey was about 600 kilometres of road with very little to see along the way. We did stop in for a really quick look at the 80-mile beach, which is along the way, but we decided not to stay here or to have a swim as we are now into croc territory. We're continuing to make our way north towards Broome today, so we spent the night last night at a 24-hour free camp again, and we are probably about 2 hours outside of Broome, and this is the Stanley's rest area, so that's pretty cool. They've got picnic tables and little barbecues and that kind of thing, little fire pits, so pretty cool place to stop up for free for a night. That's where we are going to leave you for this week's episode. And in next week's episode, we have made it to Broome, and we will be exploring Broome and the Dampier Peninsula area. Thank you everybody for tuning in to this week's episode. We hope to see you again next week. And if you'd like to follow along our journey with us on social media, you can find us on Instagram at Financial Freedom by 40.